I'm Hayley Ann Solomon, and I'm reading from my latest book, Bewitched and Beguiled, Poetry of Enchantment. I'm going to read the end section of the book, which is a lot of whimsy. We've had a lot of classical Greek mythology, and I'm a pentameter in very formal classical form. And now we're moving to absolute whimsy and light, nonsense verse, which is always a favorite of mine. Well, I like them both, but it's quite fun. So I'm not going to read the poet's notes, but there are poet's notes, and I'm going to go straight to the poem. A goblin knocks on my window and offers me gold. Go away, goblin, and do as you're told. I'm meant to be resting, and goblins are mean. You're disturbing my sleep. You're spoiling my dreams. So the goblin hops down from my tall windowsill, but with the grumpiest cough keeps knocking until my dad has to come and chase him away, for really I'm sure he's been planning to stay. I close my eyes gently, but in a minute or so my room seems much lighter, with heightening pink glow. What now, goblin? I take a quick peek, but this time it's toothfairies with teeth that they seek. Fairies forlorn, sad fluttering on high, glistening with tears. The fairies don't cry. Hello, I say, a little confused. If you're hoping for teeth, I've got none that I can lose. Are you sure, says one? One seems to be wobbly. No, I say, a little bit giggly. No wiggly teeth, I'm sorry to say. But please, won't you please stay? Well, said the fairy, her voice strangely airy, we're dearly love to delight, but we're searching for teeth to go underneath the giant's giant armchair tonight. Why, I ask? It seems perfectly plain that a sack full of teeth he'll likely disdain. A giant is quite unreliant on the teeth of small children. I say this defiant. Good point, said the other, a point like no other. Perhaps we should rather choose toes. How many noes, I wonder, suppose, would answer strange questions, strange queries like those? A toe fairy's wrong. It doesn't ring right. A toe fairy sounds quite likely to bite. I love their wings, their wands, and their things, but I'm doubting that they're really quite right. No, I say firmly, quite simply not. 10 toes I have, and it's all that I've got. And though it's great that we finally meet, I find I'm inclined to keep toes on my feet. So we sit there and think, the fairies and I, we sit there and think of giants on high. Well, said the fairies, one with a sigh, we wish there was something, perhaps something to buy. Dust of diamonds, rubies red, for angry giants I simply dread. Unless we bring him teeth in bags, he'll likely change us all to hags. Really, I say? That's outrageously mean. Are you certain for certain, or simply not keen to ask him the question of what he might need? Teeth from small kids? Seems stupendous greed. What about sunshine or roses? Something like that. The fairies just giggle, that seems to be that, until one with tiara, faint gossamer wings, whispers a thought, the timidest thing. Yes, says a friend, or goblin gold, but that's quite hard, too hard, I'm told. Wait, I say, and grab a stocking. Do you hear that stealthy knocking? I think it's a goblin. Oh, he's really quite cute. He slides down the chimney right down that chute, and if only the clock will stop its tick-tocking, we'll surely still hear his non-stop knocking. The fairies, they freeze, but I give them a smile. Don't generalize, goblins. Not all are so vile. Well, hello, dear sir, and welcome, I say. I'm sorry my dad just chased you away, but you seem perfectly lovely, now that I'm awake. I'm dreadfully sorry for sorry mistake. The tooth fairies curtsy. I smile a huge smile. All of us grin. We grin for a while. The fellow, he bows, and he puts in my hand the wealth of all rainbows from pots that he's panned. Here, sweetest girl, it pleases to give. With your aid and mine, these fairies shall live. Give the giant half this pot. He'll forget about teeth, the whole rotten lot. The other half, dear, place under the rain. And wish a fine wish, and wish once again. He takes a deep breath. For when the sun shines bright, twixt moon and half light, you'll know that the rest of the pot and all that it's got is the treasure forever neath feather down heather, the treasure forever, you know, the treasure that weathers neath elfin pine leathers, the treasure of fairy rainbow. He exhales triumphantly. We clap like crazy. His words are wild, if somewhat hazy, but the gold is glittering bright with hope. The fairies skip, they don't need rope. They change careers from tooth to gold, but the goblin shakes his head. I'm told, he says, that gold is fine and giants seem to love its shine, but colours cloak the world in glory. Colours tell the finest story. Autumn reds and hilly greens, aqua blues and changing scenes, violets, indigo, buttercup, creams. He squints at us, his eyes agleam. Behold our birds on wing, tipped with traces, scarlet, crimsons, feathered places. Here and there they're purpled too, every shade and every hue. Found on trees and plants, flowers and sea, blues and hues we can't agree. If we've counted twice and thrice that twice, there'd still be shades and grades and subtle changes, colours reaching all the ranges, mottled birds in browns and downs, the silken gowns of russet browns. Even in the dark of night, colours shift and trend to light. Rainbows host a pot of gold, but more than that, their joy all told. So rather than tooth fairies or gold fairies, be joy fairies. The fairies nod, eagerly dropping their sacks. Of fallen teeth there is no lack. But the goblin gently gives them back. Don't waste, my friends, alack, alack, the giant still requires a snack. But when you give him rainbow gold, watch his smile that smile unfold. Then you fairies will be free, free to dance neath summer tree, free to bounce a rainbow bend, free to laugh and set a trend. Off you go, flitter flutter, gathering colour, mutter mutter. I can't quite catch what else he utters. But the joy fairies flitter joyfully. The goblin stopped his knocking. He's rocking now, asleep I'm sure, in hammock soft of striped velour. The night seems silent as before, but golly gosh, how goblins snore. Here is a lovely picture of him in his velour hammock. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of nonsense verse, and thank you very much for listening.